and welcome to another episode of Convention Confessional. My name is Katy Hunt. I am your host with the most, and today we are talking with Scarlet from the West Coast. Hi, Scarlet. How are you?
Hi, Katie. Yeah, I've been doing conventions since 1999. Started when I was 14 years old. Attended Anime Expo when it was at the Anaheim Convention Center. Been cosplaying since 2000. My first costume was Utena from my favorite anime, Revolutionary Girl Utena. And I think I got a lot of stories to tell. Just doing conventions on the West Coast, East Coast, and everywhere in between. I mostly do anime cons because anime is my jam. Been an anime fan since Sailor Moon was on broadcast in the United States, and I do some Comic Cons here and there, some pop culture, generic pop culture events here and there. But California is definitely a very interesting and very cultural place, especially for Japanese anime conventions and conventions that also have a bit of a Japanese culture, Asian culture.
Yeah, the competition scene out in California is way different than the one out in New England. New England goes hard, but I feel like California, like Anime Expo and stuff, it's unreal out there.
Yes, especially when it comes to cosplay. There's a lot of amazing cosplayers out here. In fact, when I used to live in Boston, when I would just come out here for vacation to visit my parents, visit friends out here during the holidays, I would just go buck wild at the fabric district because I can find bridal satin for like $3 a yard, and just do my all my fabric shopping for the year in one day. And LA, we have access to this haven of fabric. Like, you can just make some of the most beautiful things at a very good value. So yeah, we definitely go hard here. And a lot of folks who start out here in cosplay, I've actually known them to go into professional careers in costuming and fashion. I actually known a few who've gone on to do costuming for RuPaul's Drag Race, and a friend of mine works for Universal costuming, and a few other people I know work for Marvel costuming. In fact, I even know the fabric supplier who does all the costumes for all the Marvel movies, and that's where I get a couple of my fabric. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's nice quality. So it's a pretty huge scene out here in terms of cosplay. But
Oh yeah, definitely a lot more opportunities out there with Hollywood and everything, like getting costume jobs and everything like that. That's definitely.
in fact, one of my first jobs, one of my jobs to support myself in graduate school was I actually did work for our university's costume department. And even though I felt like I was very versed in costuming and just making dresses and whatnot, I learned a lot on the job, just being a costuming assistant, working in all these projects. And not only that, I also learned how to really manage my time, because working in theater, it's very time demanding, and you
Yeah.
need these things done on time. So I know we always joke about cost crunch, but just having that professional experience also just kind of helped me with time management in terms of cost crunching and learning to use my time efficiently so I don't feel like I burn out and whatnot. But that was a very fun experience to support myself through grad school,
Oh
working in
yeah, 100%. That sounds
and
awesome.
yes.
So you said you were a Boston girl for a while. What years did you go to Anime Boston for?
Oh wow. My first Anime Boston was Anime Boston 2013. So that was a year when Anime Boston, I believe, was on Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
And then after, I've been going, even when after I moved from Boston back to the West Coast for work, I still flew out to Boston for Anime Boston because it just ended up just being one of our favorite conventions, and also an excuse to see our friends again. And I just really like how they do a lot of their cosplay events. I love the cosplay game scene. I actually did a cosplay lip sync for the first time in 2019, and I wanted to do again in 2020, but the world happens. Sad.
Yeah, that whole thing. Oh, so you competed at the Masquerade in Boston before?
Yes, I also competed at the Masquerade. My first year, I entered Shadow Yukiko from Persona 4.
Yep.
Didn't place in that one, but I believe the following year I did. I went as Cure Marine from Heartcatch Pretty Cure. My partner and I had this idea of okay, let's do this comedic sketch. And Pretty Cure, it's like this, your generic monster of the day, magical girl series aimed at kids.
Yep, I judged that skit.
Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was like, yeah, we stole the, yeah, the monsters of the day stole Tom Brady's heart crystal or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, we gotta save Tom Brady or something like that.
Yeah, I judged at Anime Boston from about 2010 till about 2017. And then 2018, 2019, I'm a co-host of The Masquerade now.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Ouija.
Oh yeah, I love you.
See, this is what happens when you don't know people when you interview them. It's like, yeah, no, I'm the co-host for Anime Boston, so
Yeah, I always love watching the Anime Boston Masquerade. Like, even if I'm not a participant in a show, it's just something I always like doing. And it almost feels like the main centerpiece of the convention. Just a
yeah,
take
it's like
on
it's a
Masquerade.
big show to put on, and honestly, it's like that's like my favorite part of the whole weekend. Even if I didn't have any part of it, like judging wise or like hosting wise, like I'd make it a point to go to the Masquerade just because I feel like that's like the event.
Yeah, it's like that RuPaul Drag Race song, like, this is the main event, are you
Yeah,
ready? Yeah, it has like that kind of
exactly.
kind of thing. And I've always like, oh my, the name is escaping my brain. Rhodey, Bacon Man.
Yeah, roadie roadie.
Like, now I'm having all these nostalgia feels about Anime Boston.
No, that's what this show's about. All the nostalgia.
In fact, like, I remember one time, like, we were kind of ambivalent about going to Anime Boston one year, and I think my partner and I, we were at this tiki bar in not too far from us, and just after having a couple of drinks, you're like, you know what? Let's go to Anime Boston. Like, I like that idea. Let's go to Anime
It's a
Boston.
great idea. Woo!
On a whim, just after having a few tiki drinks, like, okay, let's go to Anime Boston. Yeah, that's the year we decided, like, yeah, just we weren't the most sober making that decision, but it was a good decision.
Right. Any other New England cons?
Yes, another anime convention. I always like taking the bus up there. That's always fun.
I was the host for that for 14 years.
Yeah, I know yes, I did enter the masquerade for AAC. I forgot what year it was, but the last year we did it. And we kind of felt like the humor kind of went over folks' heads because, like, okay, it's a younger audience. We're not sure if this is going to work, but let's do it anyway because it makes us happy.
Right.
So my partner and I, we cosplay as Hungary and Austria from Italia because we got that vibe, and, like, yeah, we're pretty much Hungary and Austria in real life. And I actually been to Hungary and Austria in real life. Love those countries. My favorite countries to visit. And so the joke was my partner, who's like one of the few cis male Italia cosplayers, cosplays this Austrian, this like very formal, regal kind of outfit. And he is reading a book of Austrian thespians. Well, there is one majorly known Austrian actor in the United States, and who is also a politician, and his name is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
And then so I had like, okay, if we just put like classical music in the background and you read Schwarzenegger quotes like from this book, looking very masterpiece theater. Okay, so like it kind of went over to audience heads. Like, okay, I'm probably assuming the average Italia person hasn't seen Commando or like The Running Man, but the people who are like in our age category, like backstage, were just busting up, and like I think like one of our stage hands was just trying to hold back his laughter because I had to just go right in to just kind of like just pull him off stage as part of the act, and like the stage hand, one of the stage ninjas was just busting up. He couldn't like just stop holding in his laughter, and that was like making me laugh. Like, okay, I can't screw up my cues because seeing people react was also making me laugh. But yeah,
I remember that was a wicked good skit. I remember that.
mm-hmm. And I also did Kineticon. I did that one for a few years.
Posted there too.
Mm-hmm. I actually like Kineticon.
Yeah, no, it was an experience. I mean, Kineticon working it is a whole different beast than going to it.
Of course.
And being behind the scenes of it, because I went as an attendee one year before my friends group that worked in that circuit asked me to come host their masquerades for them. So I hosted masquerades for them from 2009 to 2014, and dating games. So I was I wrote up all of, like the drafts and everything for the dating games and the masquerades. and it was so much fun behind the scenes and putting on the show and like again like hosting, being there and stuff. But now that I have gone past my time at ConnectiCon, I don't see myself going again because it's just like it's turned into like a completely different beast than what it used to be.
Yes, that's what I've been hearing about ConnectiCon. I think I was attending around the time when there was this transition going on. So I think I attended like, I'm just trying to remember, it was like 2013, 2014 when I attended, because I remember competing in Masquerade. The first one I did was 2013. I was on stage as Eternal Sailor Pluto.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And I love that skit because the timing was perfect. So the story is a week before the con, a couple weeks before the con, everyone in the Doctor Who community was wondering, okay, who's the next Doctor going to be? Like, we were just waiting, like, who's going to be Matt Smith's predecessor? And my partner and I just came up with a skit, like, well, since Sailor Pluto is the guardian of time, let's make her a time lady.
Yep.
So the joke was like Sailor Pluto comes out, you hear the TARDIS noise, and the next incarnation of the Doctor is Sailor Pluto. And I had my partner is a huge Doctor Who fan. I'm more of a Torchwood person myself because I love Jack Harkness, and
Yep.
I love him, John Barrowman. My partner is a huge Doctor Who fan, and he just wrote this script for us, and it's like, okay, let's roll this, and we got a huge laugh and a lot of joy from the Whovians in the audience, just combining two fandoms, Sailor Moon and Doctor Who into just one thing, and I ended up scoring a judges award for that. But I had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, I remember that skit. Yeah, that was the Hunger Games year. That was when we put Hunger Games and what was the other show? Lord of the Rings together to host with.
Oh
That was
yeah, I
2013.
remember that. Yeah, that was a
It was
fun.
funny though because in 2009 when I first started hosting there, our dating game was Torchwood themed, and
Oh,
I cosplayed as John Hart.
aw.
That was a really good year. But I would tell you to go to YouTube and look it up. However, there is absolutely no footage of it. I My friend Ryan came on the show a couple episodes back. We were talking about it, how like our first dating game we did together and the last dating game we did together, nobody recorded them for some reason or another. So like, there's no proof that they happened except for the memories that we hold of them. But like, yeah, no, being Jack Harkness was my friend was Jack Harkness. I was John Hart. It was fun because you could pretty much just be completely like, disgusting towards each other, but it was completely in character because they had like that weird romance long ago.
Of course.
Hmm.
God, I just really miss the Whovian scene like years ago. Like that was a lot of fun.
I just find it funny that our paths have crossed and we didn't even realize it until this moment.
It's almost like the cosplay community is just like a small world, you know?
Yeah. Ships in the night, ships in the night. So then West Coast ones. Where have you been in the West Coast?
Oh wow, I've been almost all over the place on the West Coast. Well, obviously Anime Expo, that is
Hmm.
which is seen as creme de la creme by tourists.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
locals, we look at Anime Expo, it's like, do we have to? Really? Anime Expo? Do we have to? Fine, I guess we're going. I mean, that's the general local attitude towards Anime Expo, because it's held like during 4th of July weekend,
Yeah.
and it's really hot. Like last time around, it was like 90 degrees. One year was like almost like Boston summer humid, and that caught me off guard. Like, where's this humidity coming from? And there was like a year where it was like almost over 110 degrees. I decided to like, okay, I'm not gonna cosplay. I'm just gonna chill in panel rooms. And these would be panels I would not normally attend, but I'm like, oh,
Right.
I'll just like just sit here, just kind of enjoy the AC. Like, I'm don't normally attend this panel, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to listen.
Right, right. I'm suddenly interested in this air conditioning. I mean, whatever topic you're talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anime EXO, like, but we did stay at this really nice hotel. We stayed at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, and there's a lot of movie history with the Biltmore Hotel. It was actually the host of the first Academy Awards. Pretty in Pink, the prom scene was filmed in there. Ghostbusters was filmed there, so it was like a huge like Hollywood landmark.
Yeah,
And I was just very excited to like do a cosplay photo shoot there. In fact, I did like a couple of cosplay photo shoots, and that was like just my main highlight, just to say I've done like cosplay photo shoots at this Hollywood icon. So I'm like, yes, that was a lot of fun. And
Yeah, that's definitely an advantage to have out there, especially when a lot of stuff's being filmed in like different stages, locations out there. If you can get like a costume made up that kind of goes along with it. That's awesome.
yeah, I'm not too far from where they film like all the like the 1950s scenes from like That Thing You Do.
Hmm.
When they like just go out to like the little town area, like I'm not too far from there. It's like, oh hey, if I need to do like just something more retro-y, I can just go down not too far from me, and there's the place where they shot That Thing You Do. I can get something very retro in the background. So like I have that advantage of like just having these access to like all these places where you can just freely shoot and not have an issue with. Like some places, yeah, you might need like a permit to shoot or something, but there's a lot of options and a lot of places to do some cosplay photo shoots outside of a convention. Because I think with local cosplayers and Anime Expo, that's just kind of becoming their reason to do Anime Expo. Like I'm not going to buy a badge. I'm probably just going to like show up at this hotel, do a couple photo shoots, or show up at LA Live, which is like this very vibrant nightlife kind of place. And movies and TV, they actually have used that area to double as Tokyo, like Akihabara.
Hmm.
Just get some shots like that. And it's great if you're doing like an idol kind of shoot, if you're doing like a J fashion kind of shoot, and no need to pay because like if that area is all free, and it's a lovely location. I mean, I've done some idol shoots there, just kind of like, okay, let's just give it like a Akihabara, like nighttime Tokyo nightlife kind of vibe, and you can get some really great shots there from that. So it's very interesting to see like just have the local perspective of Anime Expo. And when, especially when I was living in Boston, a lot of folks came up to me and they're all like, hey, anime, I want to go to Anime Expo. Like, I really want to go. Like, yeah, I recommend do it once just to say you've done it. And I'm not gonna lie, they got some really top tier guests. So a lot of times, one of my reasons for like still going to Anime Expo is the concerts. They always happen to have like top of the line guests there. Like I think the last time I went, they had 8 out of 9 of Aquars from Love Live doing a concert for 2 nights, and
Wow.
everyone was just gog over that. And I had friends who did full VIP, so I'm like, whoa. And that was a lot of fun. I and the people I was like sitting next to were from Texas, were from Canada. So you had people from all over the world attending these concerts, and that was pretty amazing. So yeah, Anime Expo is definitely like one thing we're best known for, but again, there's like a difference between how locals perceive it versus how like tourists sees it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like that's like that with pretty much any of those like large conventions, like especially Anime Boston. Anime Boston's gotten huge over the last couple years or so, like guest wise, music guest wise. I mean, God, they pulled in the orchestra, the director for the music for is it Final Fantasy? Oh no, Kingdom Hearts, one of them.
Yes, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but
The
that
name,
was crazy. That concert was insane. Like they brought in an organ for the guy.
yeah, I attended her. She had like a mini chamber ensemble kind of concert, like in one of the ballrooms. I actually did attend that, and like a few months later down the line, I attended the full orchestra concert in Los Angeles, and that event quickly sold out.
Yeah,
That was an amazing experience.
yeah, wild.
Hmm. Other cons out here, let's see. Um, we have Pacific Media Expo. That's more like an Asian American slash Asian culture kind of convention that stemmed from Anime Expo. A lot of former Anime Expo staff decided to create like this independent spin-offy con that started in 2004. And one of their headline guests was this J-rock group called Cyclist Semu. And I didn't attend the first year. I because every time that PMX like fell on the calendar, I was a college student and I had to focus on midterms. It was like during midterm season, like okay, school comes first. So I didn't really attend PMX until I was done with my undergraduate. And they would always get like Hollywood celebrities at their event. So one year we had George Takei. One year we had what's his face, Rufio Dante Bosco.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a small enough con where you can. It's like another anime convention size con for perspective.
Sure.
But you can like just meet these celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, and just chit chat with them. They had Walter Jones from Power Rangers. They had Daniel Day Kim from Lost. I'm sure he's been in other things, but Lost is the one I remember Daniel Day Kim most for. And oh, he was also in Heroes as Hero's friend.
Yep.
No, James Kyson Lee. My bad. Ugh, dang.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
Yes, James Kyson Lee. That's the name of the actor who was a guest. But the point being, it's very small. It's very intimate. They even had like a couple years ago, they had the voices of the crystal gems for Pearl, Lapis Lazuli, Peridot, and Amethyst. Again, it's a very small convention where you can like just be interactive, and you can like just really have a lot of one-on-one time with guests, and the guests are super nice. And um yeah, like I can say I went to a convention where I shook George Takei's hand, and
He's
it
a wicked nice guy. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
absolutely, like that was just like one of my favorite experiences as a fangirl. But unfortunately, PMX just kind of has gone downhill because the timing of it just hasn't been all too great, because it's kind of close to like the major holidays out here. And plus, the other problem with California is we have too many conventions. I know too much of a good thing might be a bad thing, but when you have all these conventions being scheduled, you have to like pick and choose which ones you want to go to.
Yeah.
And the one that has more clout is probably the one that someone's going to attend. And also, just keeping in mind the budget of all these attendees, you can only like just pick and choose where you want to go. And also the fact, like, for someone like me who does have money to travel and does have money to attend things, I also have to be very careful with my time, because like, yeah, I might be older, I might have more money, but I don't have all the time in the world apparently. So I have to like just really pick and choose which conventions I want to go to and which ones I want to support. And that's just looking at my state alone, because I'm probably going to choose like an Anime Boston or an Otakon, because I love those cons. I love traveling out to them, and I have a lot of friends who go, and I just love how they do anime conventions. So like, yes, I feel like I'm in my zone. I feel like I'm with my people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I feel like over time too, like you kind of like when you're first going into conventions, like I have to go to every single one because I need to know and see everything because I've never done anything like this before. And then you get to be a certain age, you're just like, yeah, 2 years sounds good. Like I know where I want to go. I've got my people.
No, absolutely.
You definitely end up finding your favorites. Absolutely. Like I said, like I think honestly now the only convention that I actively go to is Anime Boston because I work at it. But also it's just like it was my first convention and it's it's close by to me, obviously. It's hometown technically for me. And I mean, you just fall into like habits and friends and you know who you're hanging out with and you know a building, you get comfortable with it, and it's more fun to go to sometimes. 'Cause you're just like, I know where I am, I know where I'm going, I'm relaxed. Like this is it feels like more like a good time rather than where's the fifth floor? How do I get up that escalator? Who's the guest? Where am I going? God, look at all these people and like their cosplays and what's the new trend now? What are you all dressed as?
People are watching. Like I feel like I'm so out of a loop.
Right.
Like
Right. Oh
sometimes
god, yeah, no, like it's funny, like over the years, just you see what the most popular cosplays are at these conventions. Like Love Live is still pretty big, but I mean a couple years ago it was huge. I remember when everybody was Full Metal Alchemist, like original Full Metal Alchemist, like that was the thing. You went to a
I was
convention,
never gone.
everyone was dressed up like Mace Hughes or Roy Mustang or Edward.
I was one of the many Rizas back in the day.
I was a Mace Hughes. I was a Hughes. Yeah, and then again, like you'd mentioned before, the Hatalia group. I was America for a while. I hosted AAC one year as America. Um, yeah, no, it's just funny how the trends change over the years, and you're just after a while you kind of lose track, and it's just like God, I didn't watch the last three shows that trended. What happened? Like I fell into my old school anime, and I wanted to stay there forever.
Yeah, I feel like that way with the pandemic, because now there's like a lot more services out there that like show old school anime. Like I've been addicted to Retro Crush.
Hmm.
because it's like a free like anime old school streaming service, and I also have an access to High Dive, which also streams a lot of old school anime.
Hmm.
And I've been like just watching the things that like I may have missed out on when I was growing up, because growing up, like I was into a lot of magical girl stuff. I was into Sailor Moon, so like some other stuff when I was like 14 versus my age now didn't really appeal to me. Like because like okay maybe this is just kind of brushes over my head and maybe I'm not into this, but I just started watching things like Legend of Galactic Heroes, original OG Gundam,
Hmm.
Gundam 79,
Yep.
and hey, I'm just really vibing with a lot of these old school titles that I may have missed growing up, but now I'm really vibing with it. So I've just been watching a lot of old school retro anime that I may have missed.
Hmm.
And I've also been doing a lot of rewatch of Gundam Wing. My partner is a huge Gundam Wing fan. In
Oh, I
fact,
love Gundam Wing.
for PMX Online and for Fanime Online, we're running a 25th anniversary of Gundam Wing panel.
That's awesome. I actually I cosplayed as Hiro Yui many moons ago when I had the body for it, because now I would never attempt that like pants and tank top look. Like, no, absolutely not. And I also had a Duo Maxwell costume that I wore maybe one time and then rented out to like a bunch of other people so that they could be my duo.
Aw.
But we never got a full group, unfortunately. But I always wished we had a full group for Gundam Wing because that was one of my favorites growing up. So
Yeah, same here. I actually finished a Relina cosplay like during the pandemic, and this version of Relina is the ending credits version, where she's like what Animal Kingdom or
oh
something.
yeah, whatever jungle theme it was, yeah.
So I call it Animal Kingdom Relina. And it's like, okay, I need like just get a photo shoot of this because I think it would just be so funny to do this esoteric version of Relina.
Just
Just
bring
like,
a bunch of animals with you.
yeah, just bring it. There's this one vendor. They always show up like at East Coast conventions because I remember them. I always remember seeing them at Anime Boss, and they sell like the very realistic like animal plushies.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, like okay, I need to get a couple like animal plushies from them because I just like how they're so realistic looking, and just like a
Definitely.
photo shoot with like a bunch of like stuffed animals as Relina. But
Yeah.
yeah, my partner wants to cosplay as Duo Maxwell, so I need to like eventually just finish that costume. But like just it's weird because during the pandemic, I just kind of feel like very on and off when it comes to sewing. Because like okay, I'm tired, existential dread. I don't feel like sewing.
Yeah.
Depression,
Yeah,
anxiety.
I feel that. The only thing I've really sewn lately is masks, but I mean, hey, it's something at least.
Absolutely. Like there was a point where I was like sewing a lot of masks for a charity, but even that got me burnt out. So I just realized, okay, I just need a break for a while, and it's slowly just my interest in sewing is slowly coming back, and I think a lot of it has to do with just getting settled into our new place and just setting up my sewing area. Now that I have an office to myself now, it's like yay, home office. I can have a sewing corner
Yeah.
once I
Yeah,
get.
like a lot of my I mean, I said a lot of like cosplay burnout. Obviously, it's just like, well, we're not really going anywhere right now, so I didn't see my. I guess I need to have a crunch time to actually get into like my costume sewing again for some reason. Like just mentally, it's like, nah, I've got way too much time. I could have made like 16 costumes. Why would I do that when I had time? How would I wait until I have 5 minutes and then finish my costumes?
Oh
It's
yeah,
just like that
absolutely.
mindset that I'm stuck in. But my biggest costumes, honestly, kind of like the last time I made costumes was about probably a year and a half ago. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Critical Role or not.
I
It's a
have.
yeah, D&D group. My friends, we made all of Vox Machina,
Hmm.
and I made some level 20 costumes for my group. I made Percy for myself, and the entire inside of it is bear fur.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very heavy jacket. You can only really wear it in the wintertime because I'd probably die if I was outside in the middle of like, Anime Expo at 110 degrees. That would not be the place to wear that costume. But so much detail work went into all those costumes. I was like, all right, I need a little bit of a break. And then a pandemic happened, and I was like, okay, this is not what I meant.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way about conventions because there was a point, like sometime in 2019, I was feeling burnout. It's okay, I need a break from this by I'm trying to figure out like how do I approach taking this break? Like you said earlier, like okay, this is not the break I was expecting, but
Right. It's
my
just like,
bank account is a lot hardier right now.
right, right. Because now I'm just like, now I want to go. I want to make something, but I don't even know where to wear it. Oh,
Yeah, and
well,
just also just being part of like a cosplay group that kind of helps you just stay motivated.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
like just seeing just progress photos like in like a Facebook group chat, it's like yeah, that kind of keeps me motivated to sew and to do something. But since like okay, we're kind of like still figuring things out, like okay, I can take a break from this. Like there's no rush.
Right, right. I can quit. I can quit whenever I want to.
Mhm.
I don't want to quit.
Mhm.
All right, so East Coast, West Coast conventions, you've got to have some kind of a story, some scandalous or tragic or hilarious or some kind of a story to share with the group.
Oh wow, do I have stories? Once upon a time, when I was actually presenting something about bullying and to high school students, and the framework was like, hey, we're the student basically the school they were like doing like this play about like drama at a convention. I know, right? I mean,
Weird.
I know. And then I was asked to just kind of like just do this presentation for these high school students, and this high school student, completely unaware of what goes on in our lives,
Hmm.
asked me the question, do you guys have drama at your conventions?
Oh my god, dear, we invented it.
Well, I mean, you try to avoid drama, but sometimes it just comes creeping right back at you. But yeah, definitely. Wow, what kind of stories do I have? I have travel stories, hotel horror stories, but you know what? Let's go to the travel one. Once upon a time in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is a 4-hour drive from us. It's like going from Boston to New York,
Mm-hmm.
and we decided to just carpool with a friend of ours to drive to Las Vegas, and so like the weekend was pretty funky as it was. I mean, it's a whole story in itself, but leaving Las Vegas was a completely interesting story. So it was not Memorial, it was Labor Day weekend. So it was like one of the high travel weekends for being on the road. And then we were kind of feeling iffy because of just tensions with our roommates and just kind of what's going on about like leaving Las Vegas like in this carpool, to the point where like I'm checking Southwest to like look at my flight points to see if I have enough flight points to get us back on a last minute flight. My partner thought about calling his dad, um, because his dad is the type of person like, yeah, I don't care, I'll drive, blah blah blah, because of just kind of like the direness of the situation, because we didn't want to be stuck in the car for like a very long time where there's some weird tension going on, which was like, okay, I'm willing to see if I have Southwest points. But we just decided to like, okay, let's not bother his father, let me just save up my Southwest points, and let's just kind of like just grin and bear it. We find out that our main driver has picked up a girl at the con, and he wants to impress her and whatnot. So part of that was driving her home to San Diego. San Diego is 2 hours south from where my partner and I live. But luckily, we made this deal to like, okay, just drop us off first to where we need to go, which was Orange County. And if you can just have her be the last person to be dropped off, because we didn't want to do a detour to San Diego because I had school/work the next day. So, um, we, so of course, like Sunday morning, we just make sure our devices are fully charged. This was during the time of the iPod, and I had a Zen Micro MP3 player, just so we can have our media ready to go in the car, just kind of like to zone out, because we know it's going to be a long drive because of the holiday weekend, because of so many people getting on the road. At that convention, he will not be named.
Hmm.
There was a guest that this girl was completely obsessed about, to the point where would said guest was like, yeah, I want you at my wedding, I want you to like just take photos of my wedding and my wife and blah 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 blah. Yeah, There's a reason why I'm keeping this.
Oh no, that's fine. I mean, we don't have to name.
She would not shut up in the car about him. Our devices decided to die 1 hour during the car ride. We still had like almost had like 5 hours to go. So like, okay, we need to keep ourselves sane here in the back seat of the car. My partner was like, can we like just find a way to change the topic or whatnot? Because like certain fangirls just kind of thinking that like,
Oh no.
it was pretty awkward. And at the time I didn't have any ill will towards certain people in certain industries, but
Mm-hmm.
but when someone, even from looking at the perspective of someone being obsessed with someone and just talking about them nonstop, and you're stuck in this tin can with them for like 5 hours, and your devices decide to die an early battery life.
Right, because thanks fate.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be interesting car ride, and I gotta find ourselves to just keep us entertained, and why not? Like, yeah, and that's my leaving Las Vegas story.
Wow. Just when I thought like that certain person couldn't get any weirder. Ugh. Well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
So
Uh,
yeah, I did survive
also,
ride.
yeah.
And my partner and I just kind of like talking with our eyeballs together and just kind of like using like trying to make up a sign language to say like help me or something, because like we're in the
I like to hold out hope though that this certain person has seen the error of their obsessive ways, perhaps about this said person.
I hope so too. So
A life lesson to be learned.
yes. I mean, again, that was like almost 10 years ago. Like, I'm willing to believe that people change, but
I'm willing to believe that people read. Please read.
mm-hmm.
Oh man. Wow. Well, Scarlet, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and hilarious that in some sense of the word we actually have met before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was yeah, this was just an amazing time to just talk about my adventures with conventions.
Great. Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to promote while you're here, dear?
Oh, absolutely. You can visit my YouTube channel, Scarlet Rhapsody, Convention Cultured. I also run a show just talking about convention horror stories. So if you want to like listen to more, oh boy, there is more.
Awesome. And I will definitely share a link for that when this episode goes up in a little bit. Well, thanks again for coming on the show. Guys, make sure you go watch her YouTube channel. Make sure you follow her podcast, definitely. Scarlet, a pleasure. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, and hopefully when everything is safe again, we'll meet again at Anime Boston.
Just me. One day we'll see each other and be like, aha! A voice to the name, to the face. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for listening.
All right. Good night, everyone.